Located 18 miles east of Savannah, Georgia, is the barrier island of Tybee. Its lighthouse, located next to the entrance to the Savannah River, sits on the northeast end of the island. It is one of 7 surviving colonial-era lighthouses. The Tybee Island Lighthouse had its beginnings in 1732, when General James Oglethorpe, governor of Georgia, the 13th colony, ordered a light station to be built on Tybee Island. The light station has been guiding mariners' safe entrance into the Savannah River for over 285 years. The Tybee Island Light Station is one of America's most intact light stations, having all of its historic support buildings on its 3-acre site. Rebuilt several times, the current lighthouse displays its 1916 mark with 178 steps and a first-order Fresnel light. Work began on the first day mark, a lighthouse without a light, built on Tybee. It was constructed in 1736. It was an octagonal in shape and it was constructed of brick and cedar piles. Standing 90 feet tall, it was the tallest structure of its kind in America at the time. Unfortunately, storms took their toll on Tybee's first day mark. 5 years after its completion, a new day mark was commissioned. While work was progressing on the new day mark, a storm swept the old day mark away in August of 1741. In 1742, the second day mark built on Tybee was complete. It was described by Oglethorpe as much the best building of that kind in America. It was different from its predecessor, standing 94 feet, with a flagstaff which ran from the nave to the top of the beacon. By 1748, the sea was within 30 feet of the day mark. Piles were driven into the sand to support the foundation. Unfortunately, that was when the sea started to encroach, reaching the very door of the day mark. A new day mark was needed and time was running out. In 1768, with the sea lapping at the foundation of the day mark, the Georgia Assembly authorized a new day mark lighthouse to be built. This time, the site well removed from the sea was chosen and the building was completed in 1773. The day mark/lighthouse was ceded to the federal government from the colony of Georgia in 1790. The United States Lighthouse Establishment then took over the operation of the day mark, turning it into a lighthouse in 1791. The 100-foot tall brick and wood structure was lit with candles for the first time. During the American Civil War, the wooden stairs and the top 40 feet of the tower were destroyed by the Confederate troops as they were retreating to Fort Pulaski. They set fire to the tower in order to prevent the Union troops from using it to guide their ships into port. After the Civil War, the lighthouse establishment began work on rebuilding the Tybee Light in 1866, but it was delayed due to a cholera outbreak. The lower 60 feet of the old lighthouse was still intact, and it was decided to add to the existing structure instead of building anew. The lighthouse was now to be a first-order station consisting of masonry and metal only, as it would be completely fireproof. This is the lighthouse that stands today. Level 3. There's the view out the window. Today, the Tybee Island Lighthouse is a popular tourist destination, having all of its support buildings historically preserved. It is one of just a handful of 18th century lighthouses still in operation in North America.
Here it gets the best.
Oh.
Give me some cables on the side of the rock.
Hey, look at how high we are. Holy smokes. Whoa. Alright. Whoa. Come on, wind. Seriously? Oh. Yep. Alright. There's the beach. Okay guys, just wanted to show my face and let you know that I did make it to the top, but not going to stay long. This is it's a little shaky for me, so hopefully enjoy the views, and I'll see you back on the ground. It's a pretty cool picture. They can look inside the lens. There's the light. The Tybee Island lighthouse was electrified in 1933 and the station reduced to just a single keeper. The beacon was then automated in 1972. Just across the entrance from the lighthouse, you will find the fuel storage building, which was completed in 1890. Its red roof marked the fact that it held flammable substances. This would be where the keepers would keep the fuel for the light. It has a metal red roof, brick walls, and floor, all in which were an attempt to keep the building fireproof. The head keeper's cottage that we see here was built in 1881 after the previous dwelling suffered massive damage from a tropical cyclone that hit the area in 1871. It was originally built for the sum of $6,000. The restoration project that was completed in 2001 cost over $500,000. Next to the head keeper's cottage, we see the first assistant keeper's cottage. It was built in 1885 after the previous dwelling burnt down. It is the exact same floor plan as the head keeper's cottage, less 1 square foot. The restoration for this building was completed in 2004, again for the amount of $500,000. The next building that we come to is the summer kitchen, which is the second oldest building on the property. All of the cooking for the site was done on this building until 1910, as cooking away from the main house reduced the likelihood of fire in the house and kept them cooler in the hot summer months. The restoration on this building was completed in 1998 and now houses many of the artifacts for the museum. In 1923, cars finally came to Tybee Island. This meant that the keepers could have a vehicle for work and to move around the island more freely. So with the addition of the vehicle came the need for a garage. The garage was built in 1936 and restored in 1998. It now has been repurposed for the Lighthouse gift shop. The remainder of the Tybee Island Museum is housed in the historic Endicott period battery, which was built as part of Fort Screven during the Spanish-American War in 1899. Fort Screven was an important military post of the Spanish-American War. Most of its batteries were not complete during the time of that war, and the Spanish never threatened an attack on Savannah, and the fort never came under fire. Fort Screven had 7 batteries, 6 on Tybee Island and a 7th near Fort Pulaski. Battery Garland now houses a Tybee Island museum and is open to the public. I strongly encourage you to visit the museum to learn about the batteries and Fort Screven's history in World War I and World War II, as well as its effects on the community of Tybee Island. Okay guys, well that's going to do it from here at Tybee Island Lighthouse. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Showed you around the museum buildings, the restored museum buildings. They did a really nice job restoring them. And I even made it to the top, even though I'm not a fan of heights, as you know if you've been watching this channel for a while. But I made it up to the top of the lighthouse there, and I was hugging the wall pretty tight, but I wanted to bring you the views from up there. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and if so, consider giving me a thumbs up and maybe subscribing to the channel. And I guess that's going to do it. So until next time, thanks for watching. And like I always say, you never know what you're going to see when you get out and explore with John.